Hello, my name is Josh Evans. I'm here in Prague with a film that I'm in called Bugs. It's a documentary directed by Andreas Jonsson. And it follows this project that I was leading with some of my colleagues in Copenhagen at this nonprofit called Nordic Food Lab. Nordic Food Lab was set up as a sort of interdisciplinary research space founded by the chef of this restaurant called Noma. And the goal was to investigate really broadly into the edible potential and the gastronomic potential of the Nordic region. So it involved looking into all of these different sources of food that either had been forgotten about, like a lot of wild plants, or had never been eaten in that region at all, like seaweeds or insects. And so this film really focuses on our insect project, where we were traveling to lots of different countries around the world, trying to learn about all the different culinary traditions associated with this really diverse category of organisms, and to sort of use it as a starting point to talk about larger themes like ecology and the relationship between gastronomic culture and landscape, and all these really interesting ideas. So yeah, I think for me the film has really been, the travel aspect is a really sort of key part of it, because without being able to experience all these different cultures and learn from all these different cultures, the research would have been much, much less rich. So I hope if you have the chance that you'll be able to look it up and watch it and show your friends, and maybe see how it challenges what we think about as edible and not edible. I think that's really what it's about in the end.
Now, quick question. Now the movie's Bugs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The movie's called Bugs.
And when and where do you expect it to be released?
Oh, that's a good question.
For distribution.
It is going to be, so it's been going around festival circuits since last April when it premiered at Tribeca in New York. And I think it will be having a theatrical premiere soon, perhaps in New York in the fall, I think. And then after that, it will be in lots of theaters around the country.
Okay, great. So we should be able to expect it in the New York theaters promptly. So this is even a local travel topic for us.
Fact, yes.
Excellent. Now, you are living a chef's life, he said, in one of your previous. So are you becoming a cook, or are you still in the academic career? How would you say your life is?
I have more of an academic background. But I've also been working in food, and particularly starting in sustainable agriculture and growing things. And the more that I did that, the more I became really interested and compelled by cooking, because it's one thing to be able to produce food, but if we can't turn it into really delicious, nutritious meals, then it's not completing the whole cycle. And that's sort of how I got into food research. So I'm not trained as a chef, but I have worked a lot with sort of real chefs and collaborating with different people who have these kinds of more practical expertise.
Okay, I have two questions for you. First of all, what are your favorite bugs to eat? And second, where was your favorite place that you experienced bug eating?
These are good questions and common questions and difficult questions. The range of insects and the range of taste is so broad, it's really hard to pick one out. But I think one that really stands out is the queen termite. It's as it sounds, it's the caste of termites. Like honeybees, they have a queen. And in the case of many termite species, they're very large. They're about this big, and they're wide, and they're extremely fatty. And they have really sort of a really luxurious taste, like nutty and like a little bit, it really reminded us of foie gras. It really reminded me of sweetbreads, kind of these very delicate like organ meats. It's really beautiful. As for like a favorite place, well, I think Japan really holds a special place in my heart, because I've been there multiple times, I've lived there before, and sort of when we went there for our field work, seeing how the insects that we worked with fit into the larger gastronomic tradition was really satisfying, because like everything in Japan, there's so much attention to detail, there's a really deep sense of seasonality, and the insects sort of fit into that larger picture in a very natural way. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, for our audience is primarily in New Jersey and New York. Okay. Are there opportunities for folks in that area to try, eating insects? Or
to try eating insects?
Yeah.
There are, certainly. I mean, I think that Yeah, there are some restaurants in New York I know that serve some insects. I think one is called the Black Ant, perhaps. I haven't eaten there myself. But I think the more important thing, the thing that interests me about insects, the thing that I think is notable about insects, is how it's less about eating insects and it's more about eating diversely in some way. So in many parts of the world, people eat insects not because they think that insects are going to save the world, but because they're one part of this broad range of different available foodstuffs. If we're in a part of the world where that makes sense, then great. But if we're not, it's not necessarily a thing that we need to force in some way. So that being said, I suppose for me the film in some way isn't actually about eating insects. It's about something more general, which is about trying to make a kind of broader use of all the foods that are available to us, wherever we are in the world. But that being said, yes, there are some places in New York, at least, where eating insects is possible.
Okay. And what is your academic background, just out of...
I did my undergrad in literature and philosophy, and I've done some graduate work in microbiology and food history and culture, and I'm currently a graduate student in England at Cambridge studying history and philosophy of science. So it's a bit all over the place.
Impressive. Well, thank you very much for your time. This is Tappin' the Travels signing out from Prague, and please check out Bugs.
Yeah.